What we saw last year in the intrusions that Mandiant responded to, we categorize those intrusions in one of two buckets. The first is that the victim organization discovered that intrusion on their own, something they've invested in, a security technology or a service maybe. The second bucket is it was discovered by an external entity, like maybe law enforcement or an external vendor. And in JAPAC, that second bucket accounted for 69% of the intrusions we responded to. So about 2/3, the SOC isn't blocking the attack. They're not even noticing the attack. Some external parties tapping them on the shoulder and saying, "We think you might be hacked."
Welcome to the Impact Insights, where we explore the ideas and innovations shaping our future. I'm Ahmad Akhtar, co-anchor of Money FM 89.3's Breakfast Show, and today I'm joined by one of our valued sponsors, Steve Ledzian, CTO, Google Cloud Security and Mandiant JAPAC, a company at the forefront of secure, scalable cloud infrastructure and AI-driven cybersecurity. We'll be diving into how they're contributing to the future of internationalization and inspiration, and the insights they've gained from working with leading organizations across the region. Steve, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, happy to be here.
Happy to have you on. Let's dive into AI innovation. No surprises that Google is one of the leading players in this space, constantly redefining what's possible with AI. My question is, how is AI being leveraged to enhance cybersecurity measures at Mandiant?
Yeah, maybe first it would be helpful if I explain for those in the audience who don't know what Mandiant is. So Mandiant is a team within Google that does incident response. So when everything goes wrong and a cyber attacker is able to intrude into an organization and turns the business upside down, that victim needs to understand what happened and what to do about it. And so Mandiant comes in and does the cybersecurity forensics, understands potentially the impact to the business. And until the business has those answers of what happened, it's very hard for them to respond. It's hard for them to know what to say to press or to regulators or to their customers. And so Mandiant has been around since 2004, and we've responded to some of the largest, most impactful breaches around the world since that time. Mandiant is also leveraging AI and taking advantage of the AI innovations. And I think one of the themes with AI and cybersecurity is that it saves time. And as Mandiant's responding to these crises, in a crisis, there's nothing more precious than time. And so some specific ways that Mandiant is doing that, they're using AI to help understand and decode attacker scripts. They're helping using AI to build detection rules. They're using AI as we show up into customer environments. Customers may have different technologies, and so those different technologies may have different languages to speak to as you're doing searching and investigation. Rather than know all the languages across all the technologies, we can use AI in natural language and convert to the technical query language of that specific tool the customer's using. So it's really all about speeding up the actions we need to do to forensically investigate, getting to the answers more quickly, and empowering the business to be able to respond in a more effective way.
Yeah, it's a very comprehensive approach. What inspires your current wave of innovation in using AI for threat detection and response?
Well, in threat detection and response is usually the job of the security operations center within an enterprise. And the security operations centers today are struggling. What we saw last year in the intrusions that Mandiant responded to, we categorize those intrusions in one of two buckets. The first is that the victim organization discovered that intrusion on their own, something they've invested in, a security technology or a service maybe. The second bucket is it was discovered by an external entity, like maybe law enforcement or an external vendor. And in JAPAC, That second bucket accounted for 69% of the intrusions we responded to. So about 2/3, the SOC isn't blocking the attack. They're not even noticing the attack. Some external parties tapping them on the shoulder and saying, we think you might be hacked. 1/3 of the time, the SOC is doing what it should be able to do, which is detection and response and notice intrusions. So the stocks are struggling. I think one of the reasons they're struggling is because there's a cybersecurity talent gap. Right? And that's not just in Singapore or Asia Pacific, it's global. And that talent gap is compounded by the fact that in the Security Operations Center, you've got a lot of work that's very repetitive, very toilsome, and analysts get fatigued very easily. And so AI goes to addressing both of those. AI can help with the talent gap. It can make the analysts you have much more effective because it's doing maybe, by wave of hand, maybe the first 80% of the work they need to do to analyze. But also it's removing all that toil for them so that they're focusing on the more interesting parts of their job, and they're happier analysts. They're more likely to stay. And we're not in this battle of having to constantly hire, train, and retain analysts within the SOC. So AI enables that and addresses, that huge challenge of cybersecurity talent gap that the world is seeing.
Yeah, I want to segue into my next question, and it piggybacks quite nicely onto what you've just said. Upskilling in AI, which is another aspect of this phenomenon that is top of mind for business leaders. In the context of cybersecurity, how is Google thinking about responsible AI, not just from the perspective of building it, but helping others adopt it responsibly to protect against external threats?
Google's has had AI principles for a long time. We've published them on our website, but they essentially boil down to being both bold and responsible when it comes to AI. Or the boldness is about inspiring and empowering across all the human endeavors and all the disciplines and verticals. And responsible is making sure that as we go on this transformational journey with AI, that we're not doing more harm than good. And so there's a number of ways that we help other companies help in that effort. One way is with what we call SAFE, SAIF. It's our secure AI framework that's published and publicly available on the web. And it provides guidelines and around governance for organizations who are thinking, how can they themselves embark on a responsible AI journey? There's a self-assessment there. And so for audience members who want to check that out, there's a lot of resources around SAFE, SAIF. The second maybe is the Coalition for Secure AI. I think that's Coalition for Secure AI.org. And that's a coalition of industry leaders in AI that are sharing best practices so the entire community can benefit from those learnings.
Now, I'm sure there are several recent breakthroughs or trends in AI that have caught your attention. And I hate to put you on the spot, but I'm going to do just that and ask you to name one that excites you with respect to its potential to transform cybersecurity in enterprises.
Yeah, so the hot new thing right now is Agentic AI. And Agentic AI, I think, applies itself really well in the domain of cybersecurity, and particularly in the Security Operations Center. Again, we want to move across a journey where the Security Operations Center is becoming more and more autonomous. And Agentic AI is the latest tool to be able to get us there. And the idea around Agentic AI is that you have all of these agents which are working together in concert. The agents are very specialized. They can evolve within that specialty over time. And AI is coordinating and orchestrating across those agents. In some cases, the agents may talk between themselves. And with that capability, you're able to get outcomes for very complicated problems, right? So you can start with maybe an alert that comes into the SOC, And using an agentic AI workflow, we can use maybe a first agent to triage that alert, a second agent to investigate it, a third agent to respond to it, a fourth agent to maybe do detection engineering. So we can take what we learned through that investigation and improve our detections. And all of those pieces working together normally would be multiple team members. Now you have multiple agents driving that capability and doing it in a way that's very fast and very effective. Could be having oversight by a human, but again, that human now, their work is to oversee and maybe fine tune, not to have to do all of that legwork across multiple different multiple different aspects of a full investigation.
In terms of the collaborative space, you've entered into, I'm sure, successful collaborations with Asian governments or enterprises. Would you be so kind as to share some examples of these collaborations that have significantly improved their cybersecurity posture through AI?
Yeah, when we talk about governments, governments are also looking at cybersecurity at a national level, and they want visibility across sectors. They want to be able to protect their critical infrastructure. Ransomware now is considered more a national security threat than a cybercrime because of its impact on hospitals and pipelines and critical infrastructure. And so nations are trying to address this problem of national cyber defense. And it's a hard problem to solve because put nations aside for a moment, look at a single individual enterprise. That enterprise, which may have undergone digital transformation, is seeing a massive amount of logging and telemetry coming in, just a single enterprise. Now scale that up to an entire nation, right? And so it's very difficult for them to have the visibility they want just because of the sheer amount of data they need to process. And so Google is a company that is able to handle that load of data, right? Think of when you do a Google search, everything across the internet, what you ask for comes back very quickly, and the quality of the answer that you get is very high quality. And that's sort of the same challenge that security operations see is when I ask a security operation tool a question, I want the answer to come back quickly, and I want the answer to come back high quality. So Google's taking its knowledge and search and applying that to the cybersecurity domain for governments. And so we have a capability called Cyber Shield. And so that's had success around the world as well as in Asia in providing nations national level cyber defense.
Steve, thanks so much for your time and insights. It was a pleasure having you on Impact Insights.
Thanks as well. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Steve Ledzian, for sharing those valuable perspectives. We value your partnership and look forward to continuing to co-create what's next together.